TLC's Dating a Mama's Boy. And this shows exactly what it sounds like. It explores couples where the male partner has an overly attached mother with them, hence the name, Dating a Mama's Boy. But let's cut and let's talk about one specific person, or actually, let's talk about the specific couple, Shekeb and Emily. Now, let's give you some context here. So, Shekeb is Middle Eastern and Emily is South Korean. So, like most interracial Asian relationships, a lot of the contention is based on the fact that there are two different races between the two couples. Now, I want to talk about something here. I know this is very surprising to all of us, but I'm white. That's right, motherfucker. I'm white as snow. And if you honestly disagree with me, then you're fucking colorblind. Go get your eyes checked. And I don't be one of those fucking, guys. It's like, it's like these like morally better than you guys. That's such a weird word, but yeah, it's like, oh, I don't see color. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Of course you see color. Don't try to fucking lie it. It's like when motherfuckers say, I don't judge, but you all judge. You judge, we all judge, and that's just the way it is, right? Don't hide from it. But yeah, let's be real. So I'm actually Indian and Filipino. So I am a product of being interracial. I'm an interracial product of both Indian and Filipino heritage. And this is the same issue that my mom and dad faced, which was when my dad introduced my mom over, like his side of the family, which was Tamil, they didn't like my dad being married to my mom who's Filipino. So they did stuff that wasn't, they didn't treat her well, they didn't do all this other stuff, and they wanted her to break up essentially. So it's a mirror to what I've seen with Shekeb and Emily, because they're just two people that are in love. They have common, fundamental values, and it's just that they're just a different race. And when I see this conflict, especially this type of like specific content, because it relates to me on such a level, the episode strikes a lot more funnier in some ways, because I see like him, Shekeb, and me, but it also kind of hurts on a deeper level. And honestly, with my own experience, there is a sense, even like right now, as someone who's born in the first world country, to date within your own race, because it's to at least please my parents, to keep those same Asian genetics, as well as to just kind of keep the race going, so that your kids may look like whatever your parents are, so there's not too much of a separation, right, in that regard. But honestly, it's so weird, because like you would think someone who's a mixed race person would want to have that issue, but you still have that issue, because I'm Southeast Asian, so they want me to date someone that's Southeast Asian. So there's still that connection between dating someone of your own race, even though I myself am a mixed race person. Kind of weird, but yeah, this is just my opinion. And honestly, with just of your own race, because it's just to please your parents, or because you want to kind of just make sure your kid looks like you, and not based on your partner's fundamental values, and only look at something that's skin deep, then I think that's kind of dumb. It's kind of it's kind of backwards. It's outdated. Finding a partner should not just be about their culture and their skin color. It should be about fundamental values at the end of the day. Whether you two can work together. Are you the same politically, or slightly different? Do you have the same goals and ambitions? I think those things set precedence over someone's looks and someone's race. But then again, that's just me. All right, let's get back to Shekeb and Emily. So it's so scary how much I see myself in Shekeb. And honestly, I'll admit this straight up. I am a mama's boy. I love my mother. I spend lots of time with my mom. I try to do things that won't upset her. And here's the fucked up part about this thing. I basically let her dictate my life for the longest time. So I listened to her to go to university. I listened to what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a banker. I ended up working in insurance. Idea was, like with all Filipino parents, is to be a nurse. Then after that didn't work out, because I just didn't want to do sciences. She said, okay, just be a banker, wear a suit, go to downtown, whatever. And in a sense, I ended up working in the financial industry as an insurance person. So in that case, that kind of led her the life that she wanted me to live, as well as my dating life, which honestly, if I listened to her, I'd be a virgin forever. Like I was so dry because I kept listening to my mom's like old fucking Filipino ways, which didn't get me anywhere. So seeing Shekeb just follow his mom's every orders and always being around her, because she has sacrificed and done so much for him, just mirrors me to a freaking T, and it's just kind of scary. If you put me and him together, if you just swapped me and him, it would not make a lot of difference. But there's two specific like parts of the relationship that really struck me. The first part was when Shekeb's mom brought some other girl that Shekeb wanted to marry in front of Emily. So I'll give you some context, was that Shekeb and Emily were going to go for dinner and invite their mom to talk about Emily, basically him, moving in or just being in a relationship with her. So instead of the mom coming alone, the mom brought someone that Shekeb was supposed to marry. So think of it like an arranged, like a typical Middle Eastern arranged marriage. First of all, someone who's of Indian background, that's still pretty fucked up, right? First of all, like, thank TLC, because they know what they're doing when casting these motherfuckers. Like, they know how to cast people in the best sort of dysfunctional relationship. But the fact that the mother had the audacity and the balls to bring another girl in front of his son's girlfriend is just it's goddamn, it's just astonishing. It's amazing. And the part is, like, I think the girl already knew, like, her purpose in that meeting wasn't to actually be there for Shekeb. It was just to spite Emily. It was just she was a prop at the end of the day to piss her off. And yeah, the mom's a savage. The mom is a straight savage. But I think you have to realize at some point, especially with globalization, that these traditional values that you hold dear, arranged marriages, dating within the race or culture, being religious, they're gonna fade away because the kids are gonna assimilate into the culture that they grew up with. There's only so much as a parent that you can teach them before society comes in and teaches them something else. That's why assimilation exists. That's why kids who come from different backgrounds forget their language and only learn English. If you're gonna move to the West or to any other country and expect the kids to maintain those values that you brought back home, don't expect it to happen, to be honest. They're going to assimilate to the culture that they grew up in. And I think, when you make that move, when you have kids, I think that's something that you ultimately have to accept. And this is the second part that struck me, which was that Shekeb was actually going to move out with Emily. Now, the way this whole thing kind of like went about was funny. Like, shit. All right. So when he was about to tell his mom that he's gonna move out, he stops. He can't even do it. Emily's like, "Hey, Shekeb, you wanna tell something to your mother?" And Shekeb's just like, yeah. Emily, do you want to tell him? And Emily's just like, "No, Shekeb, can tell him. You tell him. You tell her. You tell her what we're gonna do." And he's like, and you can't bring it out. So in the interview room, because they always have a separate interview room in these like TV shows, he's just like, I don't want to move out. Yeah, I don't want to bring the news to mom. Yeah, because with all this tension going on, like let it simmer down or whatever. But and then Emily had to come in and just tell him. It was like, hey, guess what? Me and Shekeb are going to move out, and we've discussed this. And then Shekeb, last minute, he's like, whoa. Maybe we should wait for a bit. And Emily's like, no. You promised me that we're going to move out and we're going to do this now. And he's like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do it. Then the mom just fucking freaks out. It's almost like the eatable mother relationship, right? Like where the mother is super controlling of the son, and the son doesn't know how to develop any sort of independence because the mother's has almost like a function to take care of their kids without really having the ability to let them go. And I think that's just kind of like what's going on right now, especially because the price of housing, especially in Canada and BC, is impossible because it's a normal thing, to be honest, just to live at home. You save a lot of money, you get food paid for free, you don't have to pay any rent, and plus you get to live with your parents, and it's always good to spend time with the family. But honestly, this is exactly what I'm feeling up right now. I want to move out. I want to explore the world. I want to live in a different city, but a big part of me tells me that I can't, just because my parents are reaching the age of 70, and I feel like they need me, to take care of them, to be around them, to make sure their last aspect of their life, which they've sacrificed so much of it to give me and my brother a good life and a good opportunity to pursue greatness. I feel obligated to give that time back, right? But I also don't want to sacrifice my life just living at home all day in the same city doing the same work. There's a big world out there, man, and I want to explore all of it. I want to see what it's like to rent. I want to see what it's like to live somewhere else. Like when my brother went to South Korea to teach English for about a year, he came back with so many experiences and so many photos and so many stories. And here I was studying for university and not learning anything and not getting anything new. Now I'm coming close to the age of 27, where I don't know how it's like to rent. I don't know how it's like to live in another place, because all I've done is I lived here, around my parents, given the time and taking care of them. But a big part of me wants to go out there and see the world. Am I selfish for that? I'm looking to buy a house and like live in another city that's about 12 hours from here. Am I selfish for doing that? Am I selfish for leaving them? And this is like the kind of the dilemma that I've been, thinking about. Is because they're old and I don't want to leave them. And I've made a promise to myself. It was that I will never send them to an old folks home. I'll never do that. I don't want to do that. I will not abandon them. And that's fucked up. When someone tells me that they'll send their like parents to old folks home, I to be honest, I just don't understand it. I want them to live with me and let them see my face every single day. I don't want to leave them alone. And that's the promise I chose to keep for myself. But I also want to move out. So there's a push and pull effect, and I just don't know what I'm going to do. And I think with Shekeb, and Emily, where he can't even break the news that he's going to move out with Emily and leave his mom alone. That's honestly exactly how I feel. Shekeb at that moment when he could not tell his mother that he was moving out was an almost uncanny like connection to the way that I feel about moving out right now. And honestly, it was like looking into a mirror. I was looking into a scary fucking mirror of what my life would be at 31 or 32.